5 years ago after a lifetime of yo-yo dieting and being unhealthy and depressed about my health. And this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And along the way, inadvertently, I became a business coach with no intention to do that. It just happened. And that's the kind of cool thing about this business, is that if you really have the heart for it and you really just want to help people, it's amazing what happens on the way to your own health. Oonagh, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Well, my name's Oonagh, and you know, I think we all have the honor of actually being introduced to our mentors. So I lost 35 pounds 8 years ago, and for me that was really difficult to keep it off. So I love this program, and I think for me, you know, I was so excited that I got such good results. I wanted everybody else to get those good results, but I decided, you know, early on that I wanted to help like 10,000 people get healthy, and I'm probably at about 5,800 now. So I'm more than halfway to my goal. So for me, it's really about meaning and purpose. And I think one of the most difficult things that we all have is, you know, like, what do I say to people? And, you know, there are different situations, don't you agree?
Absolutely. So our goal for today is to help you in those situations, not in the situation where somebody, if you have a weight loss story and somebody comes up and says, oh my gosh, you look fabulous, what did you do? That's like falling off a log, right? I mean, that one is a no-brainer. We all know how to do that and help people. Although I would say, just a couple tips on that, don't lead with MetaFast. You're not telling people, oh, I did this fabulous program, I did MetaFast. You never, ever want to say that. And you want to talk about your health and how great you feel. And the weight loss is part of that story, but it's not about the food. You are not a MetaFast salesperson. So even in that situation, you want to craft your message about the fact that you lost weight, you got off medication, you feel so great, etc. But that's not the situation we're going to actually talk about today. And if you're a brand new coach and you still don't feel comfortable with telling your story in that way, that's something you're going to talk to your business coach about and you'll feel comfortable with very, very quickly. The other thing is, when you do meet somebody and they say, oh my gosh, you look fabulous, what did you do? And you're at the PTA meeting or you're at the grocery store, it's always good to have in mind what your goal is in those different scenarios. In that situation, your goal is not to get a new client. Your goal is to get their, to share enough, see if they're interested, and then get their contact information and set up another meeting. So if you accomplish that, then you've met your goal. You don't want to go into presentation mode in that situation ever, because they're going to be, and then you have nothing to call them about. So you just want to share enough. Oh, I would love to get together and tell you about that. Meet for a cup of coffee or make an appointment over the phone. So that's your goal. But what we're going to talk about today, and our real emphasis, is what do you say? How do you get the conversation started? Maybe you don't have a weight loss story. Or maybe, for me, I mean, I lost my weight 6 years ago. When I meet people now, they have no idea that I look any differently than I used to. So how do you bring up the conversation? You don't just start out and say, hey, you want to lose some weight. You know, there are elegant ways to kind of bring that up, and that's what we kind of want to talk about. So, Oonagh, do you want to talk about how we talk about our own story in a brief way with a leading question?
And, you know, I think what Karen was saying, you know, like if it's your friend or family, you're excited and they see your transition. But like when you go out to a social occasion or you're at a networking meeting, and we'll cover like, you know, doing booths or health fairs as well, and somebody says, what do you do? I mean, a lot of people kind of just suddenly get stuck. So what we're going to do is help you craft your story. And while you're crafting your story, you know, that same personal situation for friends and family, we'll cover it here as well. And in the training guide 1 on page, I think it's 17, it will also help you, okay, give you prompts on like, okay, how should I be thinking? But we've got some over here, so if I can just hand some out this side and hand, and We can each take one. Karen, have you got one? I do. Okay. So we just want to help you craft that story. And what I'm going to ask you to do in the beginning is just think of like the main thing. I mean, we all had a problem. That's why we're here. I mean, for me, I hit 40 and I was gaining weight. Not everything I tried didn't work for me. So what was your main problem that brought you to Take Shape for Life?
And if you were a doctor, your main problem might be just like Dr. Brosfield talked about, I didn't have something to help my patients. Yeah. If you had no weight loss story, your problem might have been, I have always been healthy and my friends have always wanted me to help them and I didn't have any program to help them with. So you want to be authentic. For me, is yo-yo dieting. So one thing, just one thing, this isn't like the story you would go into when you're calling somebody up and following up with them. This is just something, you know, one item.
This is really just to get connected. So you want to be able to open the conversation. So, you know, you might have tried to exercise it all out. And I've given you some examples to kind of prompt you. And then if you can just kind of go to the second section and, you know, like what did it help? I mean, what helped you the most to get you? So for me, you know, I tried every diet out there, but it was too difficult. I was, you know, a busy mom with, you know, 2 jobs, kids. I didn't have the time to eat. So for me, it was I just didn't have the time, and I tried every diet out there. So what was it that Take Shape for Life helped you do? Because what we're doing is we're going to change that around, and you're going to help somebody else with that same problem that you had. Because that's where the, you know, the fire comes out. That's where your, you know, your eyes start lighting up. When you start talking about your own story, but you're just going to turn it around and apply it to somebody else. Because if they have that story or they know somebody that has that story, that's going to help you, you know, get that connection with them.
So just write down the main thing that was your problem, and then the main thing that Take Shape for Life has helped you, how it's helped you solve it. And then we're going to show you how you can take that and incorporate it into when somebody says, what do you do? So we'll just give you a minute to finish that up.